You might be someone who's getting ready for Army basic training, or maybe you're thinking about joining the United States Army, and one of your worries is basic training hard? Well, it kind of depends sometimes on who you talk to, because you might talk to one veteran and they might say, basic training was cake, bro. Especially today's Army, they don't even have a shark attack. That stuff's super easy. And then you talk to a different veteran and they might tell you, man, I thought I was gonna die. That crap was wild. So sometimes it just kind of depends, but I want to break down maybe some things that are hard about basic training, some things that are easy about basic training, and maybe help you feel hopefully a little bit more confident going into basic training. So what could make basic training difficult? Well, there's a number of factors. One of them probably that I would probably put it at the top of the list that would make basic training hard is if you're not well enough prepared. One of the major things you're gonna do in basic training is physical activities, right? You're gonna be doing physical fitness, you're gonna be doing a fitness test, you're gonna have to do road marches, all that stuff. If you spent the last year before basic training, 6 months before basic training, whatever, doing Jack Dilly squat, right? You've been sitting on the couch watching Survivor. I guess that's not a good common today's show. Watching Japanese anime, I don't know. Watching something, whatever it is that you watch, all right? You've just been sitting around watching whatever, right? And not getting out and being active, then you can probably struggle a little bit because you won't be ready for the physical activities and the stress that you're gonna be going through physically to keep up. And that's gonna make things difficult and hard. Difficult and hard. That's what she said. Even beyond trying to be like physically fit and working out all the time, you gotta be mentally prepared too, because drill sergeants are gonna be up in your face yelling at you, probably not 24/7, but they're gonna be, moments where they're gonna be yelling at you, getting in your face, telling you to hurry up and do stuff. It's gonna be stressful. There's gonna be moments of that stress, and you gotta prepare yourself mentally. It's not a whole lot you probably can do to like train for that, but you kind of gotta get into the right mindset of knowing, okay, I need to work fast, I need to stay focused, and just kind of work to understand how to manage that stress probably. There was moments in this where it was difficult even for me, right? I was pretty decent at cardio and everything because I was still fairly active, but I didn't have a whole lot of upper body strength. So for activities that required upper body strength, like push-ups, and we even had to do pull-ups occasionally before going into chow hall and eating lunch or dinner or whatever kind of thing. And there's moments then when I would probably even struggle too. So there was moments, especially like upper body type of activities, where it was difficult for me. So now you probably want to know what's easy about basic training. Well, from my perspective, I will say that probably a lot of the training itself, and not all of it, but certain aspects of the training itself is easy, right? You're trying to do first aid, you're trying to do how to do a functions check on a weapon, to take apart and reassemble a weapon, and certain other kind of training things, right? Those are easy because they're basic. They're not super difficult tasks, right? They're gonna train you how to do them, and you're probably gonna get some practice at doing it, and hopefully you have good drill instructors, drill sergeants that are giving good instructions clearly, and you can pick up on it pretty good because it's just basic stuff. You're not immediately going off to try to become special forces or rangers. You're just learning the basics, and some of those topics, right? Learning how to march, learning how to salute, learning how to stand in different positions. Those are pretty easy. As long as you just pay attention, it's easy. As long as you pay attention, a lot of things is easy, right? As long as you do what they tell you to do, don't hesitate, right? Try to, focus, try not to get easily distracted, do what it is you're told. A lot of things can fall into that category of being easy if you just stick to that simple rule of paying attention and doing what they say to do. There are even some things that have changed over the years, right? I mean, a lot of people tell you about how the shark attack changed, right? I don't know if it's easier or harder, but it's different, right? You no longer have necessarily the getting off the bus, drill sergeants getting in your face, you're doing a bunch of crazy things with your duffel bag, picking it up, picking it down. Now you've got the first 100 yards where you're doing some skill-based stuff. It can still be stressful, I'm sure, and it still probably can be exhausting. So whether it's easier or harder probably depends on the individual itself, but nonetheless, it is different. A lot of my veterans can probably tell you all about how the chow hours, right? You go to eat lunch, breakfast, dinner, whatever type of thing, and you don't have time to taste it. You got to eat it and taste it later, as the saying would usually go. Well, I've actually recently talked to a drill sergeant. There was a drill sergeant recently, and they actually said that they actually had at their location that they were a drill sergeant at a specific time frame that they had to give the soldiers X amount of time to eat. So they would go, that time would be based off of the last person. So the last person that gets their food, that clock starts then. So if you were someone that was maybe at the front of the line, you may have a little bit longer to eat than someone who, was last in line type of thing. I mean, the drill sergeants may still kind of get on you a little bit and kind of pressure you a little bit, but nonetheless, they do have a standard as far as they must give soldiers X amount of time. And it's not exactly the same as some of my veterans may tell you about, where you have 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever, right? Just hurry up and eat it, and you don't have time to taste it. You'll taste it later type of thing. But they do have different standards for a lot of things with the way the Army kind of does basic training in today's Army. A lot of the factors to determine if basic training will be easy for you or hard for you depends on a lot of factors, but one of the big factors is preparation, right? If you are someone that prepares for basic training physically, mentally, you put a lot of preparation into it, there's a good chance that you can come out of Army basic training, hell, even OSIT, one station unit training for infantry individuals and MPs and such, right? You can come out of Army basic training and OSIT saying that it was easy because you're well prepared, because maybe you did a lot of things before going into the Army, before going to basic training to really kind of get you ready for it. And then when it came time to do it, you trained harder than what it actually ended up being in basic training. So for you, it was easier. Now, if you're on the opposite side of the spectrum, right, you did not do much training, then yeah, it can be very difficult. And that's usually the people that do say that, hey, Army basic training was difficult because they were not well prepared. I mean, that's with anything in life. You're trying to go and do whatever task it is you're aiming to do, and it's going to be easy or hard based on how prepared you are. The more prepared you are, the easier it is. The less prepared you are, the harder it is. And that's no different with Army basic training. There are going to be moments that are going to be tough for you that weren't tough for somebody else. There's going to be moments that were easy for you that wasn't easy for someone else, right? Everybody's going to have different experiences, but a lot of it does come down to preparation. But for some of my individuals that are watching this, that are getting ready for basic training, what is something you're worried about the most? Maybe talk about it down in the comment section down below. Some of my veterans can maybe give you some advice, some pointers on that. And then for my veteran viewers that are currently in the Army, maybe some veterans, whatever, what were some things that were easy for you in basic training, and maybe some things that were hard for you in basic training? And if you got some pointers, I'm sure there's people that would love to get those tips. So make sure to leave a comment down in the comment section down below. If you like what I'm doing here on this channel, there are many ways you can support. You can do the free way of making sure you're subscribed, hitting that thumbs up, leaving a comment. You can check out the merch down in the description box down below for t-shirts and all sorts of other things. You can join Chaos Elite, but in the end, I appreciate you for sticking around and watching until the end, because that's really important too. So nonetheless, I appreciate you for being here. Thanks for watching. I'm Christopher Chaos, and I'll see you next time. See ya.